Snowpiercer. Wow, what an awesome movie. I guess that's all I can say about it. It was so good. It was really good. It was interesting and actiony and just the acting was good, the writing was good. I loved every minute of it. I loved the cinematography. I loved everything. It's basically about global warming has come to such an extent, a force in this world that the government needed to form a plan to sort of cool off everything, and everything went wrong, and now the planet is frozen. All life is extinct except for one train. On this one train, there are about 100 people, maybe more, where it's a closed ecosystem. They have animals, they have plants, they have food and water and heat, and they're basically able to travel around the world for a year. I think 1 year is one cycle. And they've been on this train for 17 years, people. And it's divided in classes still. The rich class is in the front and they're living really well, and then the lower class is in the back and they're living in awful conditions where they don't even have enough food for themselves. Even though there is food on this train and they could have it, they don't. So basically Chris Evans is in it, and he plays just Chris Evans. I mean, he doesn't really need to play a character. He's Captain America, that's it. And he plays just another Chris Evans character, and he is the leader of a revolution. And it was so good and so well executed and so well made, and I'm really not into fighting movies a lot just because I feel like they're very repetitive. But this one, I was watching every second of it, and it was incredible. The fight scenes were so well shot, so well made and choreographed, and every fight was different. Every fight, it seemed like the stakes were higher, and there was more going on. And it was really interesting to see how the movie advances, because it starts from the back of the train, and there's a group of people that are working their way towards the front, and they're just fighting their way through, and less make it, less people make it than the original starting group. So it's really interesting to see the progression of the characters and where they go and how they get to the end and what they do then and where it goes. And I really liked the setup for the movie, where basically they explain what happened and they explain what the train is, and I think they did a really good job at grounding this train in reality, because it's a bit of a, you know, it's almost sci-fi to think that a train could hold life like that, and they did a really good job at showing that, yeah, it could, and I bought it, and I believed it, and I loved it. And then the acting was okay. Octavia Spencer was my favorite. I really like her in every movie just because she's always the character that tells the truth and tells what everyone is thinking, and I love characters like that, the ones that are honest, and that's what she was, for sure. And it's always nice to see Jamie Bell, who I really love seeing on screen. I think last thing I saw him in was Nymphomaniac, maybe. He played Jay, or Kay. I think it was Jay. I loved him in that. I think he has a great presence on screen, and I think he chooses great roles for him, and I really liked him in this one. He was really nice and likable and almost adorable, so it was really nice to see him. And then the other guy that I really liked seeing was Luke Pasqualino, who played Freddy in Skins. It's always nice to see someone from Skins. Half of the cast is on Game of Thrones, so I see them every week, but it's nice to see other people as well. And he played a great character. I don't want to say too much about him, but he plays basically the character that fights a lot. And he was great at it. It seemed like he was really into it, and he was enjoying himself and all the fight scenes that he had. So that was always nice. And I mean, the best part wasn't really the writing, I suppose, just because, again, it's very straightforward. You need to get to the front of the train from the back of the train, and that's it. But the best part was really the directing. It was incredible to look at, and you can see the snow from outside the windows, and you can really tell that these people, they haven't been outside this train in 17 years. I mean, there are kids born there, and you know, you really get a sense of the way they live, and every section is so different from the previous, and it just gets, you know, fancier and classier as you go along. So in the beginning of the movie, everything's dark. They just sleep in these like little bunk beds, and there's just people everywhere, and their clothes are dirty, and they don't have food, and it's really bad. And then you sort of go forward, and then you see the classroom where the kids are dressed really nicely, and the teacher is pregnant, and then you keep going forward, and people are dressed as if they were at a dinner party all the time, and you really get a sense of the class distinction, I guess, between each section of the train. And I loved the way everything looked. Again, every section looked different. You had the plants section, and the food, and the animals, and the classroom, and the back of the train, and the prisoners who were basically kept in like these little holes in the wall, sort of like in the morgue. And yeah, I mean, the characters were interesting. I was into them. I wanted to know what was going to happen to them, but it was really the cinematography that kept me watching this movie for 2 hours, I think. And there wasn't a dull moment. Actually, no, there was a few dull moments. I lied. The Chinese guy, why do people feel the need to have foreigners explain everything in a foreign language without subtitles and without translations and with a really heavy accent? I feel like Christopher Nolan started that, didn't he? I mean, unless he got it from somewhere else, and I don't know who started that. Why? I mean, he was awesome. That guy was awesome. His daughter was awesome. But then I want to know what he's saying, and I don't know. I don't speak Chinese, so. And he had a little translation device that he would speak into, and he would translate everything in English, and you could hear that thing. That thing did not make any sense, and you could barely understand it. So it's almost like he didn't have it. And they really threw that out the window, because at the end, you know, there's a little moment, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a little moment between him and Chris Evans, and Chris Evans is like, listen dude, I don't speak your language, so let's just get this over with. But then they have this like 10-minute conversation where, you know, the guy just keeps talking in Chinese, and Chris Evans is looking like him like, yeah, I understand everything you're saying. What happened there? He certainly learned Chinese. I don't know. And then Chris Evans was talking for another 10 minutes, and the Chinese guy was like, yes, I understand everything you're saying. That scene was okay. That was weird. And honestly, I would say watch this movie for the fight scenes and for the visuals. Really, it's a very visual movie. And there was actually, my favorite part was it has to do with a snowflake, and I love snow, so seeing that snowflake was incredible, and it was beautiful. And I won't say when it happens or how it happens or anything like that, but if anybody has seen the movie, they know the snowflake that I'm talking about. And then the end, I just want to quickly talk about the end. The end was great. I was really happy with where it was going until the very end. The last minute, maybe 2 minutes, I was like, why? They did something that I didn't like, and I was like, why did you do that? Everything was going great. But then they continued, and I was happy again. So there was a little moment of doubt where I was like, oh, this is gonna be awful, the ending is gonna be bad, but then they redeemed themselves with the last shot of the movie was just absolutely perfect, and I don't want to say absolutely anything to ruin it because it's worth it. It's worth seeing this movie to know how it ends. It was perfect, and I really liked the way it was set up, the way the train was explained and the way the train was set up. It's sort of like Hunger Games. A lot of people actually like the world. They don't like the Hunger Games. They like the world that it's set in. Sort of like that. I really liked the train they were set in, and yeah. All the fight scenes were incredible, especially the one in the dark. I don't want to say anything else. There's one in the dark. And I forgot about Tilda Swinton. Incredible, amazing, incredibly amazing. She was everything. She stole the show. Every scene that she was in was hers, and no one could compete with her. Incredible, absolutely incredible. So yeah, Snowpiercer. Just let me know what you think in the comments, and if you saw it and if you enjoyed it as much as I did, because I loved it. And yeah, Snowpiercer, big thumbs up. Awesome movie, so worth seeing.